dismissment of Mr. Justin Opazian, formerly known as Republic has been taken to a nearby office on the 5th floor of the Supreme Court for the processing of the petition. Signing documents to give because in a short possible time, we're going to be seeing newspaper in 3 days for which the letter of apology will be there. When I get to Mr. Difo Yabo, who was also there, all of the latest happening, all of the delivery, the report of Yabo,
they are legally married, Christopher. So she has that feeling for her husband. So she's sending some level of disappointment probably in what we hope to tell that probably she's disappointed in the justice system of Liberia. That's our own understanding about it. But this case sent a shocking wave to Liberians. This case sends a deterrence to who be person who want to involve themselves into similar act. So this is a new day. This is a new day for Liberia, for our cultural heritage to be placed in order. Remember, Liberia is a country of law. Remember, Liberia is a country of traditions. So the Chief Justice, and other associate justices are there to keep our country in order. So you listen to James Hector Howard Wodokodi reading the opinion of the Supreme Court bench. She said that Prophet Key Justin Obayezen will be sentenced to 6 months imprisonment upon his release. Upon his release, he will publish in 3 local dated newspaper. In 3 local dated newspaper for 5 days. A letter of apologies to the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And upon his release, he would also find it's a sign of behavior bond to never repeat what he has been doing. That is a constant behavior of using invectives against Liberian women. So that was the final reading head down today. So as you can see, schools of Liberians have come to witness this entire court process involving a popular talk show host, a podcaster, Mr. Justin Obayezen, alias Prophet Key, who have constantly over the years used his podcast to probably, he say he normally advocate for Liberians. Sometimes most of those invectives he used against corrupt officials are because of his own disappointment on how Liberians development has slowed down because of corrupt officials. So we are here, we want to probably get views of Liberians, most especially the women, because what does this signify for Liberian women? What does this signify for Liberian women? So Liberian women, so we are here, we want to speak with some, the magazine. So we are here, we want to speak with some Liberian women. What does it mean for them? What does it also mean for Liberia as well? Now Justin Obayezen has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. On the way. I'm happy for that.
value you offer me? If you're able to set up Prophet Key, what best value you think?
My man, whoever I'm going to say yes. Say yes. Say more. Say more small. Say yeah. Why wouldn't I remember? You got to remember.
Good afternoon.
Talking to more Liberians out there.
So we are still here trying to speak with more Liberians who have come to witness this court saga. And we have this lady here with us.
LNTV, what's your name?
My name is Barbara LP.
Robert, where do you live?
I live in City.
Do you know Prophet Keith?
I don't really know Prophet Key.
Have you seen him in person before? Have you watched a clip on him on Facebook?
Yeah.
How do you feel watching some of the clips?
I feel so bad.
You feel so bad. Are you a follower of Prophet Keith? No, a follower. Today he has been, he's going to be sentenced for 6 months in prison. I don't know what's taking prison. What's your take on it?
You know, for me, I says my verse. I want that for Prophet Key. Yes, sis.
For how many months?
1 year, sis.
So you think the 6 months is not adequate? So if you're having an opportunity to sit with Prophet Keith, what better advice will you offer to her on behalf of husband or husband? Yeah.
Well, in your first day, he said that, you know, our husband is not rude. People pay him. People pay him to abuse people. So I don't have anything to give them to tell that woman.
Do you see Prophet Keith as an advocate? How do you see him if you're active? And that's the best description you think?
Yeah.
What's your name again?
My name is Barbara F.
Still here.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Let's talk to the young. How old is he?
No, not really.
Okay. How are you, man? Can we talk to you? Tell me you live on LNTV. What do you live? Do you know Prophet Keith?
So you just listen to that lady. She said at least women are going to rest a little bit. Welcome.
What's your name?
Jimmy.
Mr. Jimmy, so where do you live?
I live halfway
Do you know Prophet Keith?
Yes, I do.
Have you seen him in person before?
Yes, I
as it relates to this entire situation as it relates to Mr. Justin Opa Yezian. A few minutes from now, he will be escorted by the Liberia National Police and officers of the Correction Palace to be taken to Monrovia Central Prison. The final ruling has been given by Tintato Wolokoli, Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of Liberia. And of course, Prophet Key will be given a 6-month imprisonment. And everybody is giving their own opinion. We're still here talking to more people. See whether we can bring you more voices of Liberia. Chief, can we talk to you? Other people don't want to say, offer a word, but it is what it is. Prophet Key is about to be sentenced for 6 months, followed by a behavior bond being signed and a letter of apology to be published in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. His wife just left this vicinity a few minutes ago, and she actually feels frustrated. The law has taken a course. Mr. Opa Yezian, many have expressed their dissatisfaction about this behavior of Prophet Key. And earlier on, he was seen using some invectives on the Associate Justice. Security apparatus posted right now. Reporters, Liberians, and of course Prophet Key still ongoing processing in one of the offices there on the 5th floor. Liberia is not only a constitutional republic, it is a society deeply rooted in traditional values. And as such, respect for elders and authority is culturally emphasized. Public insults, especially toward leaders, they are all viewed as moral violations. Social harmony is often prioritized over confrontation. But again, this ruling may not resonate culturally as a defense as institutional dignity or social disorder. But Liberia is a modern democracy, which means citizen rights must be respected. Citizens must be able to question power. Public officials must tolerate scrutiny. And of course, the press must operate freely within legal limits. This also reflects on traditional respect and culture and that of modern constitutional freedom. Mr. Opa Yezian, alias Prophet Key, 6-month imprisonment with the final legal opinion be delivered by her Associate Justice, her Honor Associate Justice Wolokoli. Remember, Article 15 protects freedom of speech but makes individuals fully responsible for their abuse. This ruling has finally clarified that criticism is allowed, disagreement is allowed, but sustained abusive attacks on judicial may be treated as criminal contempt. The Supreme Court is the final interpreter of the Constitution. The court has finally affirmed its authority must be respected. Existing attacks against judiciary will now go unchecked. And of course, contempt of court is not symbolic, it carries real consequences. Tana, it's up to you.
So Christopher, we beg not to dive into a lot of lawyer terminology here, but rather provide you how it looks like yet on today. Today, the D-Day, everyone said today was the final judgment day for Justin Opa Yezen alias Prophet following one of his widely made podcast on which he accused members of the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia of corruption. He went afar to abuse the mother of the Chief Justice, His Honor Justice Yomin Bese, and he was invited by the court, the Supreme Court of Liberia, to appear before the full bench to explain why he should not be held in contempt. On February the 10th, AD 2026, Prophet Key appeared before the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia, at which he explained that he does not have a legal representation, appealing to the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia to provide him that request was granted by the full bench of the Supreme Court, sending him to the legal department so that he will be given a lawyer to represent him before the full bench of the Supreme Court to explain why he should not be held in contempt. On February 12th, which was on Thursday following the holiday, that case was scheduled, and the case was went into by the Supreme Court full bench, and the lawyers representing Justin Opa Yezen explaining why he should not be held in contempt. And after that hearing, and today was the D-Day, which was slated for the final hearing, a final verdict to be read to determine the fate of Justin Opa Yezen, Alex Prophet Key. And you all listen, those of you just joining, you are watching LNTV ELBC 99.9. On today, the final ruling were heard, at which Justin Opa Yezen has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment, 6 months imprisonment, and had also been asked to release a letter of apologies in 3 daily newspapers for 5 working days. And upon his release from the Monrovia Central Prison, he will sign a behavior bond to never repeat similar action by causing any Liberian women, as long as he remains Liberian and stays within Liberia. Interesting, it scores of Liberians have engulfed here at the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia, some of which we have spoken with, and they have given their own opinion on this ruling that was just passed down by the Supreme Court of Liberia. Some said they are so excited that Prophet Key, who have been in the continuous habit of abusing Liberian women, will now be placed beyond bars and serve jail sentence for 6 months. This to then, they feel that it will serve as a deterrent to Justin Opa Yezen, Prophet Key, that upon his return, he will desist from engaging in abusive language against Liberian women. Some said the Supreme Court of Liberia should be more serious on corruption cases. Past government officials are languaging all around after the mountain words unto themselves, corrupting Liberians of what belongs to them. Some who are being accused, cases are down in court. The Liberian government should be more focused on these corruption cases rather than being beyond Prophet Key, Justin Opa Yezen. But this does not also change the fact that the dignity, proud of Liberian women should also be protected. Why it's true that the Liberian government, some Liberians are calling on the Liberian government to be more vocal on corruption cases. But this will also serve as a deterrent to who would like to engage in similar acts of using invectives and taking on to their Facebook pages, saying all sorts of things on the issue of religion accuses against government officials of which they cannot substantiate or cannot be able to prove beyond all reasonable doubt. So this is a deterrent case. Like many Liberians have said, this is a deterrent case for who be doer who would like to involve themselves into similar acts, or who would like to involve in similar acts. So my name is Steiner James Kabas. This is LNTV, ELBC 99 for now. They're watching us for the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Justin Opa Yezen, alias Prophet Key, goes to jail today. And we're still there up to 6 months period. Upon his release, he has been instructed to release a publication of apologies in 3 local daily newspapers for 5 working days. And we also signed a behavior bond to never repeat similar action. All Liberians have welcomed this act and this ruling of the Supreme Court of Liberia in a joyful manner. All has signed on it saying the Supreme Court of Liberia, the Liberian government in particular, should be more serious and focused on pursuing corruption cases. And others reserve their comments in a gazing eye at watching the process. So we are here to report how it looks like, to give you a clear glance. Those of you watching from the diaspora, I want to say good evening, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. And we are watching here in Liberia, we want to say good afternoon. We want to say good afternoon because it is in the afternoon, it's 10 minutes past the hour 2 p.m. We'd like to say good afternoon to you. So so we'd like to say a pleasant welcome to those of you just joining this live. This is ELBC LNTV Live, reporting from the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Justin Opa Yezen, we await the arrival after the final ruling. Justin Opa Yezen was escorted to the 5th floor in room 307 for what we cannot explain because we did not go there with him, but I believe it's final processing that will lead him to the Monrovia Central Prison. So we are staying here giving you a clear glance of how it looks like. A scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process, many of which we have spoke with, giving their own dissenting opinion in and forth. Some said this march on New Day, most of whom we spoke with are women, because Prophet Key is noted for abusing women. Some of you who have followed his podcast, and Prophet Key, during the hearing on the 12th of February, Prophet Key said his invectives against Liberian women is banned because he feels that's the only language corrupt officials understand. He feels that abusive words against their mother will change them, because witches and wizards, corrupt officials are afraid of abusive language being rendered against their parents, to be most precise, their mother. So Justin Opa Yezen on February the 12th apologized, but that was not sufficient. He wanted justice should be tendered with mercy, but that was not granted him. Rather, he was served on today, the 13th day of February, 6 months imprisonment, and I've been instructed to release a letter of apologies in 3 local daily newspapers for 5 working days. And upon his release, he will sign a behavior bond. He's going to sign a behavior bond to never in his lifetime, as long as he remains Liberian and stays within Liberia, to ever go on a podcast against, to release abusive language against Liberian women. So as it stands, Justin Opa Yezen is still in room 307, 5th floor, here at the Supreme Court of Liberia. And we are here awaiting his arrival, as he will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison, at which he will be placed beyond bars. So many thanks to those of you watching, and many thanks to those of you leaving your comment. We promise to read your comment, just leave them as it unfolds. Someone, Emmanuel Clark Jr. said, Friday the 13th is a bad movie. I found the author today. Who's the author? He did that stated. That's Emmanuel Clark Jr. So Shalom Taylor said, you can cause Nima men, you go free. That Sean Tyre, watching from where did not state that Vamuyan for financial property must go. He will be escorted by he will be escorted. It's on He will be escorted by the Liberian National Police, the police support unit, that's the PSU, to the Monrovia Central Prison. He will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison.
Anybody calls a man that says here or says more.
Yes, of course. You see that? So Liberians, Christopher, one of the things about Liberian, we are quick to adapt.
Obviously.
We are very quick to adapt to things. So today, what I was thinking, if Prophet Key was to be set freedom today, to work as a free man after using invective and running or huge level of allegation accusing the members of the full bench of corruption without showing proof. Of course, if he was going to be set freedom today, I think this was going to be a tradition for Liberians.
He's going to be more flamboyant.
Yeah.
Honestly, he's going to be more flamboyant, going to be more boastful. I mean, he's going to do the worst thing, especially making mockery. But again, the law had taken its course. This is for a new day. This is a new day for Liberians. This is a new day, a precedent for, critics. It's good to criticize government constructively. But today, from what we've seen regarding Prophet Key situation, it's worrisome. So if you're a talk show host, you have to be mindful of some of your focal languages you use. Excuse me, Tana. I mean, it was somehow sad. Prophet Key broke down in tears when he entered the office.
Yeah.
I saw him. His eyes were deeply red.
One of his
he broke down in tears and he was like, I mean, the person who reading our opinion, that person will not go scot-free, blah, 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 blah.
So one of his close guys, Prophet Keys, when he met him, Abu, one of those guys that are always with him, I think he's the guy who normally drives his car and normally control his podcast whenever he's on live. Abu. He said, Abu, the people have sentenced me to 6 months. That was his word exactly to Abu.
But he was actually focused when the legal opinion was being read by the Associate Justice Worukoli. Well focused, and especially to the part where she mentioned about his formal apology, kneeled down, retracting his statement. So he feel that he was actually going to fall within that range, saying that they're going to accept the formal apology without condition be attached.
During the reading of Justice Worukoli, she said what prompted Prophet Key apologies on yesterday, it was when those councillors representing him said that everyone, according to Article 15 of the Liberian Constitution, it talks about freedom of expression, but a person will be held liable for what they say, right?
Yeah.
So it was upon that Prophet Key apologized. So what I understand from her ruling, it's because Prophet Key never took it from his heart, but rather it was a apology was prompted from one of those councillors representing him.
Besides, Prophet Key's apology wasn't mentioned within the document that was presented by Councillor Besman Tran, the president for the Defense Council. So smartly, the Associate Justice highlighted that. She said, well, you're talking about your clients offer a formal apology, but we're not seeing it here in the document presented to us.
See that?
So where do we stand? So there was a lapses. I mean, it was very difficult for a lawyer, well-seasoned lawyer or counsellor to actually represent Prophet Key. But again, it's obligated to the court, the judicial system, to provide you a lawyer to, the Defense Council.
Yeah.
And that was the referral proceedings being done. But again, freedom comes with responsibility. Freedom of speech comes with responsibility, and people can be held accountable under the law for abuses of this freedom of expression, such as libel, slander, and action that threaten public order.
So do you think that the words of Prophet Key will change, like he said on the one?
I'm not certain.
Like he said on the one of this hearing, that was the.
Yes, I do believe.
He said that the court system he have tested it and it worked.
It works.
And now that he have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment and given instruction to publish.
James, I can assure you.
Of apologies in 3 daily newspapers for 5 working
with
days.
The behavior.
And son of behavior born upon his release.
With the behavior born, whether he will be committed to error or not, with that behavior born, he's on record. An attempt to use any vocal languages on any Liberian, especially describing the private parts of a woman. It's going to be another one for him.
Many Liberians are concerned, Christopher. They said that this case involving Prophet Key, that of members of the Supreme Court bench, to be specific, meaning the Chief Justice of Liberia, this attention that this case was given should be given to similar corruption cases on the watch of Justice Basic. Do you think that this will prompt the immediate attentions of those seated on the bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia?
Of course, social media now, it's going to be more restrictive, right? If you are a talk show person, you come in on live, you will know what to say. You have to know what to do, how to, engage people. You will not be using all those inflammatory languages, bad words against people. So if you appear on your platform, whether you earning money from your platform, whether you advocating for people, whether you can intercede for people, whatsoever means that you're using your platform for, you will have to use it for the right way.
So many persons in our comment sections have mentioned Honorable Yeket, Why Koluba?
We look forward to that. I don't want to jump into that.
They said Yaka Koluba is in similar height. Some say he's more refined.
Yeah, it's
than
varying.
Prophet King.
Whether Yaya Koluba is refined, I don't want to say somebody is more refined than a friend. No, but I think Honorable Yaya Koluba is one person who's in similar dimension. But we look forward to that. I don't want to delve my conversation into that, but I think Yaya Koluba, Honorable Yaya Koluba, is one person too that the public will be looking forward to. But I think with this president being set, I mean something will change. Honestly,
something will change following this precedent that has been set by the full bench of the Supreme Court of Liberia, sentencing Justin Opa Yezen alias Prophet Key to 6 months imprisonment following his constant invectives he had rendered against members of the full bench, to be precise, the Chief Justice of Liberia, and accusing them of corruption. The final opinion was read today in the chamber of the Supreme Court of Liberia by Justice Wodokoli, Associate Justice James Edward Howard Wodokoli. So my name is Steiner James Kaba. I'm here with Christopher Bestman. Together we are providing you a joint commentary and giving you a clear glance of how it looks like here today. We are also being guided here by the Deputy Director General for New Media and Rebranding, Mr. D. Flomo Yabo II. So we are here giving you a glance. So Christopher.
Liberia is not just only a constitutional republic, it is also a society deeply rooted in traditional values. And as such, the respect for elders and authority needs to be culturally emphasized. Public insults, especially towards leaders, are viewed as moral violation for which Mr. Opa Yezen was caught up with. Social harmony is also often prioritized over confrontation. But overall, criticism is allowed. Disagreement is also allowed. Constructive engagement is allowed. But sustained abusive attacks on the judiciary must be treated as criminal contempt. Mr. Justin Opa Yezen, who hails from Nema County, alias Prophet Key, is about to be sentenced to 6 months imprisonment at the Monrovia Central Prison after being found guilty of criminal contempt by the Supreme Court of Liberia. My name is Christopher Bestman, and of course we're still here waiting Prophet Key as he goes through his processing. This sentence also followed proceedings in which Prophet Key admitted to using abusive languages against the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia and the judicial system as a whole. Prophet Key will also publish a formal letter of apology in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. And as we speak, Prophet Key is also signing a bond of good behavior, committing that he will refrain from using abusive or inflammatory languages against any Liberian citizens. This decision of Prophet Key has marked a serious and significant moment in the ongoing debates over the limits of free expression under Article 15 of Liberia's 1986 Constitution. We're still here bringing you more updates, more updates as we're with Mr. Opa Yenzian, alias Prophet Key. Remember, Liberia does not practice censorship. Liberia does not practice censorship, and as such, freedom of expression or freedom of speech comes with responsibility. Government can regulate broadcasting and communication, but not in a way that limits free expression unnecessarily. Every person has the right to freedom of expression, but you need to be fully responsible for the abuse of vocal languages. Article 15 of the 1986 Constitution states that every Liberian has the right to freedom of expression and freedom of the press. This same article also indicates that individuals are fully responsible for the abuse of what freedom of expression is. Whether you are a media practitioner, you are a talk show host, you are free to criticize public officials. But personal insults, especially against high-ranking government officials, may cross the line from free expression into defamation and that of abuse. Our Liberian law does not protect speech that is insultive or denigrating without prior evidence. Targeting private individuals or damages reputation of individuals of high profile is unacceptable. The key accusation against the Chief Justice was extremely unacceptable. From my journalistic standpoint, I believe that Prophet Key allegation should have been supported by verifiable evidence, as he mentioned earlier on in his live Facebook broadcast that he has received complaints from Liberians that the Chief Justice is in the habit of selling people land, being dubious, and other forms of corruption he labeled initially. Prophet Key accusation was actually framed on claims but no facts. He was given a right to respond, and of course he responds while he don't have a lawyer. And as obligation upon the Supreme Court through the Defense Counsel, Councilor Bestman Chua, who is the current president of the Defense Council, work along with the coordinator of the Defense Council to provide him lawyer, and as such they represented him too as well in front of the full bench. Prophet Key is a social media influencer, a content creator, and a popular person within Liberia and that of the social media landscape. Prophet Key's statement was unsubstantiated, honestly. The abusive languages undermines the public trust in the judicial system. I can tell you for sure that Prophet Key allegation incite public anger, and today every many Liberians who have been victimized one way or the other has expressed their gratitude to the Supreme Court for taking this legal stand against popularly known Prophet Key, Mr. Opa Yenzian. Remember, freedom of speech is meant to strengthen every democracy of the nation, but not to weaken the institution through reckless commentary. Prophet Keys on many occasions has been making reckless statements against public officials. Yes, others may have been involved, but again, we're still looking forward to the Supreme Court. Men and women of the Liberia National Police are in high gear, and of course, this particular vicinity has been barricaded to stop the invasion of the main entrance. 2 vehicles from the Liberia National Police headquarters with van of the Bureau of Correction Police beating right now and waiting the arrival of Prophet Key as he continued to go through the process of his imprisonment for 6 months. Sobis and Homo people. This one is from Mac Class Tally. My boy will never go to jail, I'm sure. That's Daniel Cisco B. Let's see whether we can still highlight more comments here. Same thing like this has been happening here in Liberia. Different, there are groups of guys from the guild. And of course, 122 DCP of the Liberia National Police posted regulating every media activities and that of police officers, ensuring that everything is placed under control from the angle of the Liberia National Police. So I get this comment coming from Ken Yanzo Major, and he says, same thing like this been happening here in Liberia. Definitely there are groups of guys from the Geo ethnic group here in Nima County, Liberia, beat my son, and they were taking the court here in, oh my gosh, can't get this correct. Comment continues to flood in. But again, today is Friday, and 33 minutes past the hour, 2 o'clock. We've been here since 10 a.m. this morning, bringing you all of the happenings as it relates to Prophet Key. And of course, Prophet Key is about to be sentenced to jail for 6 months following a good behavior bond that he is currently signing, along with a formal letter of apology to be published in 3 newspapers for 5 working days. His wife just left a few minutes ago, very frustrated, downhearted, feel very disappointed, but overall the law had taken a course. Prophet Key's inflammatory statements, vocal languages, allegations against the Chief Justice of Liberia and the judicial system has led him to serve a term of 6 months imprisonment at the Monrovia Central Prison there on the UN draft in Monrovia. Concerns Liberians are here, staffers from the Supreme Court are here, men and women from the Liberia National Police are here, sheriff, they are also here, and of course we stay with Mr. Opa, Mr. Justin Opa Yezian. This was coming from James Nathaniel Tonkoli, and he said the Chief Justice is corrupt. This was from Wame Mariam Maje Sharif. She said, because the we are man, they go free, but this one will not go free. This comment is from, let's see whether we get this straight. This is a miscarriage of justice and should be immediately reversed by President Bouakar. This Mrs. K. Valley Sese Mansa. This one is from Lawrence Yane. The Supreme Court is now going around looking for cases when Moyaya Koluba will be invited by the court when no one takes complaint to the court. Abraham Ross says Tengo. Jerry Blama says let me get Jerry Blama's statement, his comment. Let me see whether I can bring this comment. I cannot lay my hands on it. But again, Mr. Webster Youngonde says this would be a source of inspiration for many other Liberians. Terry Logan says prison must be sealed. Liberia has to be straight, folks. Marlin Juan Grape says, thank you, Jesus. Benu and Benda says, that man is very rude. Last born, police say he's following from his resident. And I want to recognize him for this one's from Christian Tor. And he says he will never abuse anyone's mother again. Moral lesson. This one's from Mochino Nasgor Kamara. He said the entire judicial system in Liberia is corrupt. A1T Grace say, why would a prophet be sent into jail? This is just a way of saying that the Chief Justice has used his own power and position to sentence the prophet to jail. J. Davis says, I guess freedom of speech in Liberia anymore. So let's now turn to my colleague Tana Jean Skaba as we continue with this commentary.
So I want to say many thanks to Christopher Bestman who have been here providing you commentary here on high low on here as we await Justin Opa Yezen as he comes down from 5th floor where he has been kept in preliminary detention awaiting his escorted to the Supreme, that's the Monrovia Central Prison. And so it's interesting to know here on today, scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process. Scores of Liberians have gathered to witness this process. Scores of media outlets as well are here reporting on the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia, awaiting Justin Opa Yezen known as Prophet Key, as he will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison. Mr. Justin Opa Yezen, in days back, used his famous podcast platform, Museo Prophet Key, at which he continuously rendered insults at the mother of the Chief Justice and used that very platform to accuse members of the Supreme Court of Liberia of corruption, of which he had no evidence to substantiate. Now that he was called to provide cause and explain why he should not be held in contempt of the court for his continuous insults and accusing the Chief Justice and members of the Supreme Court bench of corruption. So we are here now that he has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. We await Justin Opa Yezen as he will be escorted to the Monrovia Central Prison, at which he will be kept in himself for a 6 months period. Upon his release, he will be made to sign a behavior bond, not to repeat this act of using invectives, some say insults, some say man-calls against Liberian women. A lot of Liberian women have embraced this opinion, a ruling coming from the Supreme Court bench, and have said this is a new day for Liberia. Others have said the Supreme Court should use similar energy to fight corruption cases. So with the many cases on the docket, the Prophet Key case, big people things, Roosevelt Kumar. Darrington Young Dole said this is a landmark ruling thanks to the Supreme Court for this precedent case. London Tamar, we are reading your comments from our comment section. London Tamar said JB planted the water on his seeds. This seed, sorry. Don't you know the seed was going to grow? Tom Weah said that guy mob is too bad. These are comments from our comment sections. So you can also go do same and tell us what you're watching us from. We promise to read your comments out. For those following from outside of Liberia, we say many thanks. Those following from here in Liberia as well, we'd like to say good afternoon and thanks to you for following us. Yamboy Bodu said he can't go to jail. Never. Trust me. With what confidence he speaks, we don't know. But someone is saying that Prophet Key will not go to jail. That's Yamboy Bodu. Sorry if I did not get your first name correctly. That Tech Kamara said, at this point, President Barker needs to pardon the man. At this point, President Barker needs to pardon the man to join you in subsequent broadcasts to bring you the happenings here from the grounds of the Supreme Court of Liberia. Probably by then, Prophet Key will be escorted to the van that will carry him straight to the Monrovia Central Prison. My name is Steiner James Kabad. I'm here with Christopher Bestman and the Deputy Director General of New Media Rebranding. That's Mr. D. Flomo Yobot II. I want to say many thanks to those of you who've been following us since this afternoon. That was 12 p.m. You've been following this broadcast, and we pray that you join us back in our subsequent broadcasts. Many thanks. This is ELBC 99.9 LNTV live. We are currently here at the Bureau of Corruption. This is the Monrovia Central Prison here on Center Street, Monrovia, Liberia, where Justin Opa Yezen have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. Justin Opa Yezen have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment following his continuous invectives he have used against Liberian women. You spoke of her? Good afternoon, Mama. Welcome to LNTV. Good afternoon. Welcome to LNTV.
Good afternoon, my brother. Thank you. Today, they were bread today. To see the only thing that made me fair. While they pop like you also here, for all of seeing machine or J, they lean a car and rail here carrying stoppies. And they only that hurting me. But if you know how happy about breaking or go to stop because they want to make a teach with me, they want to make a teach with me. They're not so much teaching you can teach off. They want to make cost. They may be a cost with me, so when you cost another woman, they may cost you all. He can cost you generous. I'm too grateful for
So what do you have to say to others who say Prophet Key freedom of expression have been infringed on by the Supreme Court of Liberia?
When they say freedom of speech, I don't think that in a form of manner in which Prophet Key can express it. He only expression is beyond because he can present a minute of with me like that woman brought you forth to the earth. So that the point of my problem that was him. Prophet Key freedom of speech, he can misuse and misinterpret the freedom of speech. The freedom of speech, man, I said, he talked about yesterday. That now your Prophet Key can be preaching today.
After this 6 months, do you think that we will see a new Prophet Key?
But from yesterday, Mr. crying inside a beauty. So I want to believe when he did from here, he will be a change man. If he not change, then that's why with me, we will dance so a whole world client so he can start insulting with me publicly.
So what's your name again?
My name was Watermelage.
Watermelage here at the grounds of the Monrovia Central Prison, speaking with us. So we are still here trying to speak with mothers who have come. Welcome to LNTV, ma'am. Your name?
My name is Ofida Tai.
Ofida Tai. So how do you feel about today? Prophet Key Justin Opa Yezen have been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment. He has continuously abusing women. Today he's sentenced to 6 months. How do you feel?
I'm happy with it.
You happy?
Yeah.
So do you think that after he shall be set free, will he change? Will he see a new Prophet Key?
If they want to change, you change. You want to change, yes, leave with him.
Welcome, man. Welcome to LNTV. Welcome to LNTV.
Prophet Key that room, man, let him go to jail. If they love my one, he will make like 1 year straight. They will not cost mine. So all the media, they were spinning it around. They didn't carry and spinning it around. We will show example in the country.
Okay, so mothers are here speaking with us, giving their own views, their own opinion about this.
It had never happened before. So since they want to use Reiki as a case study, we will wait to see what will be or who will be the next person.
So you think this is wrong on the justice?
On the justice system, for those of you who are in the court, when you look at it critically, you will know that there have been, old mileage or deep-seated grudges against Prophet Key from the angle of the Supreme Court bench because, we do him authority. When people are speaking to you with the deep-seated grudges in their heart, you can know from that.
So why will you think that this government that was brought to power by Justin Opa Yezen, Prophet Key, would like to plot evil against him?
It can happen because there is a government and it is a separation of power. And you understand? So what happened today is condemnable, and I believe that you journalists too should be, the one needed to condemn this because, like I said in my previous, statement, that you people will be the main target. This is just a strategy to silence all of you instead of Prophet Key alone.
So we can't.
Okay, thank you very much. So, Mr. Justin Opa Yezen, Schools of Liberian Women. So, my welcome to Adam TV.
Yes,
Your name, please.
my name Vivian Johnson.
Vivian Johnson, we just heard you singing a slogan, "Woman, woman." Who are you referring to?
Who am I referring to?
Yeah, you are referring to who?
Anybody, because that's freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah.
But are you also cognizant of the fact that you can be held liable for what you say under the law?
On what?
This is one of the reasons Prophet Key is being held behind bar for 6 months.
No, but like, let me saw. All I think my kids are like, let me see.
Okay. So we are still here trying to speak with some Liberians who have come to witness this process. Welcome to Adam TV, ma'am. Welcome. Okay, so we are still here trying to speak. So I'm going to turn this commentary over to Christopher Besburn, who will continue the commentary here at the Monrovia Central Prison. Thank you.
And of course, thank you, Chana James Kaba. It's a pleasure being back here. It's a pleasure being back here to update our people on the happenings of Mr. Opa Yenzian, alias Prophet Key. And of course, Prophet Key has just arrived at the Monrovia Central Prison with a huge excitement by the community dwellers here. There we go with them. And of course, they are booing at the wife of Mr. Opa Yenzian as she leaves the premises of so she's leaving right now. She's leaving the premises of the place, and of course, community dwellers is still chanting. They are still chanting slogans on her, saying "woman, woman." But again, it is what it is. Prophet Key has been sentenced for 6 months imprisonment. Prophet Key has been sentenced for 6 months imprisonment. My brother, I talk to you. Good afternoon. What's your name?
Kole.
What's your name?
Kole Tanu.
Kole Tanu. Where do you live?
I live Kawe.
Kawe. Do you know Prophet Key?
Yes, of course.
Have you heard about Prophet Key?
Of course.
Have you watched video of Prophet Key?
Yes, of course.
How do you feel watching some of the videos?
Oh, really? I'm find interest in his video, but in most often, I can be or sundown by mistake.
You can see a video.
Yes.
How you can be like? Describe some of the video. How you can be like?
So his statement can be insulted, really. So I have no interest in it.
The final ruling was done today by the Supreme Court. Prophet Key has been sentenced for 6 months imprisonment. What do you have to say to that?
I believe that's the rules of law. So I believe the law have taken its course.
Thank you so much for speaking to us.
Okay.
We believe in the real law. Let's see what I can talk to you. Let's talk to you, man. You don't want to talk to us? Let's talk to you, brother. You want to talk to us? You're not in the mood of talking. Still talking to more people. And of course, we're still here, and this place has been seriously barricaded by the Liberia National Police and that of the Bureau of Correction Palace. Yeah, that's the South Beach prison compound, Monrovia Central Prison compound here in the South Beach community. And
Just connecting.
So, Prophet Key has been found placed behind bars. Of course, citizens are excited about his imprisonment, and they feel that they have been victimized, they are being distressed, they are being devalued, especially for our women. And when the vehicle arrived, there was jubilant mood seen here in the South Beach community. And of course, his wife just left the premises, feeling very frustrated. But again, the law has taken a course. The one who said this will serve as a precedent for others who are in a constant habit of using abusive languages on state leaders. But again, remember the court does not go after cases, but people rather bring cases to the Supreme Court. So we look forward to more of these happenings in Liberia, to have a very civilized society, a very professional media, but with ethics. Prison has been set. Prison has been set. Every citizen is having their own point of view, different social media posts as it relates to Prophet Key. Prophet Key will not be seen live until after 6 consecutive months. He will not be seen live on his usual Prophet Key page. So folks, we want to say thank you so much for watching, and of course this is all we have for you as Prophet Key served his 6th month to return. See you next on our next live event. Thanks for joining us.